Hello and welcome. This YouTube is on money laundering and the crime of moving money that has been obtained illegally through banks and other businesses to make it seem as if it's been obtained legally. It's the act of distinguishing the source or true nature of the money obtained through illegal means. And this is through my website. Once you've been indicted and facing prison, now's not the time to give up. White collar sentencing mitigation solutions is me. My name is Dr. Blatstein, and let's start. Financial fraud, money laundering. We'll give a couple examples. This was a case of 572,000, nearly $500,000 stolen from local businesses. I'm going to open this up and let's see. I'm sure I can make this larger. And so a New York man pled guilty to laundering nearly $500,000. 53, young, at least if according to my standards, he has his life ahead of him. But he used computer software to steal a tremendous amount of money. And the Department of Justice has a uh, they have a white collar division that is dedicated to going after individuals like this. And what they're saying here is that he can stand to these money laundering conspiracies to money launder are crimes punishable up to 20 years in prison. And so I don't believe he has been sentenced yet, but this is just one particular example. And going forward, another one was almost $1 million. Three co-conspirators believed that they were money laundering the proceeds of cocaine trafficking. And unfortunately for them, this was actually done through law enforcement. It's opening this one up. Los Angeles man pled. No, this is the same one. This did I plead guilty? Three co-conspirators, including multiple financial transactions involving funds they believe to be the proceeds of cocaine trafficking. Their belief as to the nature of the funds was based on representations of an individual working at the direction of law enforcement. In total, the conspirators received approximately $940,000 in purported of drug trafficking proceeds. Of that, the co-conspirators laundered $811,000. And again, the statutory penalty is 20 years in prison. And so the Department of Justice has a 98% conviction rate. And so you don't have to go to trial, but if you do go to trial, then at least my humble opinion is that understand that when you go to trial, there's a 2% chance of winning. So you can win. But what you do not want to do is witness tampering, or you don't want to get on the bad side of the judge, because chances are 98 times out of 100, you're going to wind up going before the same judge and you're going to want leniency. So you're going to, you're going to want to not get on the bad side of that particular judge. So what can happen after that is a series of a set of events where you can either get a target letter, you can get a visit to your office or to your place of work, or you can just be arrested on the street. But at some form, shape, or form, call it alphabet agencies. But in your particular area, wherever that may be, the reason they're called alphabet agency is that all the jurisdictions, be it Department of Justice, FBI, state, not State Department. If you're here in Washington, D.C., it can be the FBI, it could be state police, park police, Capitol Police, regular local police, but every police agency is going to want to get in on the action, and they can all be coming through your front door. And if they're stopping you, in a traffic at a traffic stop, a pre-planned traffic stop, they're all going to be there, and you're going to be outmanned, out muscled, and out card 99 to 1. And so it's not going to be a fun event. And the first thing you're going to need is going to need to be legal representation. You don't want to speak to officers without having, an attorney present. And going through this it's not an easy event. So you want to have an attorney with you every step of the way. Our preparation goes beyond the legal, meaning that lawyers are trained in the law, and you depend on them to know the law. What you need to do before you take on an attorney, though, as at minimum, know ahead of time that they have experience practicing with cases similar to yours in federal criminal court with federal criminal cases, because don't take it as a given, because I've had clients where their experience was minimal on federal criminal cases in federal criminal court. So you want to make sure that happens. On my website, I have 14 different questions to go through, but at minimum, you want to know those too. These what I do is provide white collar sentence mitigation solutions so that you should call me after you have an attorney. I provide physician pre-sentence report service, white collar sentence mitigation solutions. There's my phone number, 240-888-7778, but only call after you have a legal attorney representing you. After you either have a guilty verdict or you have a plea or you have a proffer where you're volunteering some sort of information, you need to prepare for your pre-sentence interview. And the most important person you're going to meet is that probation officer for your interview. And you're going to be given a lot of information that the officer needs from you. But you're also going to need to provide information from your past history, and it's the good and the bad. It's everything. You also should be able to provide a placement request. This placement request should be to one BOP or prison facility that you and your attorney, with guidance, and I could provide that guidance for you, to pick out one placement request. You don't want to leave it as a placement request other than one for the judge to make. Otherwise, the judge is not going to know what to do. Then expectations. What are you going to expect when you first go into prison? Do you know what? Have you ever been there before? Is it going to be a scary place? I mean, if you've never been through this before, like Shawshank Redemption, the Shawshank movie, it can be initially a surreal experience going through this. What to expect? How do you prepare? What's life like? How do you get in money? Are visits allowed? I mean, there's a lot that goes into this. And what does the probation officer you're going to meet, what do they want to hear from you? And can you make an ally of this probation officer? Because the judge depends on that officer to make the placement recommendation for you, as well as your sentence length. Next, as I try and find my mouse here, there we go. Beyond the legal, do you have a medical condition? Is your medical record prepared for the probation officer? Are you taking prescriptions? If they are, great. Have you verified that they're on the prescription formulary, or are they available through the Bureau of Prisons? Do they have that drug? If they are available, are they on non-formulary list? Meaning that they're formulary, but are they on that non-formulary list? If they are, even though you see that drug listed, you're not going to get it. So what's the plan? Your personal history. What's your plans for after release? Do you have an allocution plan when you meet with your when you meet with the judge? This personal history and release plan and allocution, maybe your attorney believes that, well, you don't really need to prepare for this. My recommendation is strong, telling you that you should begin preparing for all of these from the first day you meet your attorney. But please don't take my word for it, because I'm not a lawyer. But I do listen to federal judges. Judge Patrick Schultz, it's surprising how many otherwise competent attorneys punt at the sentencing hearing, meaning that when you get to the sentencing hearing, they're not prepared. They haven't prepared the sentencing memorandum for the judge, or the defendant, when the judge looks at the defendant and asks them if they have anything to say, they just turn around and look at the attorney. Why is the judge asking me this? And I'm telling you, because I was convicted of a felony in 2006. 2010, I got back my medical license, and I've been able to practice. But when the judge looked at me and asked me if I had anything to say, I looked at my attorney, who was a prosecutor, turned white collar defense attorney. I didn't know I was going to be asked any questions. Judge Robert Scalia, don't wait to think about sentencing advocacy. Since 99% of federal criminal clients will be facing sentencing, start preparing the case early on. And last, from Federal Judge Mark Bennett, the importance of writing your personal narrative, including it in your pre-sentence report, is probably the most important thing you're going to hear from me today. And so I invite you to give me a call. The consultations are free, no charge. But this is the most important time period before your pre-sentence interview. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation regarding money laundering, which is not great, but as far as preparing for this pre-sentence interview and your sentencing hearing, all is not lost. Prison is temporary. And thank you for taking the time to turn in today. Have a good day and stay safe.